You've waited long enough.
How the heck do you pronounce this woman's name?
Roula. And Ding Dong. Ryan, 104.1 KRBE.
Good morning.
Good morning, Houston, Texas. It is Monday, May the 20th of 2024, and it's 5:59 a.m. About 10 seconds, our pig clock will start.
It's like the old punch-in clock, you know. Here it comes.
Yeah, let's see. 7. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's 6 o'clock. Okay, yay!
All
Rule
right,
Ryan so can start. It's Rula, Ryan, Eric, and
overtime for us.
Sam. And overtime. Special K is off today because he's still trying to deal with the storm damage from last Thursday. Sam is in after dealing with her storm damage from last Thursday, and I still don't have power. And you have power, right, Sam? You got power. When did you get power?
I don't even know my days anymore. I believe it was Friday.
Oh, that's good.
After the storm.
At 9 p.m., I want to say. So I
Ew.
think we only spent one night at Jules, my best friend's house.
That's really lucky.
Oh,
Very
and you had
we don't.
because I have my in-laws.
mother-in-law, right?
I have my mother-in-law and I have my uncle-in-law.
Yeah, I know what
Is that what you? I don't know.
Yes.
I guess you
My
can say
uncle-
it'd be your
I would
uncle.
Your
just
uncle
call
on
my
your
uncle.
husband's
Just an
side.
uncle.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So they're in town. They've been in town since last Tuesday. Because
What a time to be here, huh?
I know they kind of experienced everything because we had really nice weather when they first got here in the sense of it was like mid 80s and then it got really, really hot, like really, really hot here. And then all of a sudden the storm and then it kind of got a little cool. And then it's just hot.
Yeah, it was hot this
Gosh.
weekend.
Oh my God, the heat. Yesterday, I decided to get my dog out of the house for all of, I don't know, I thought she was going to go stir crazy. I just walked down the street and back up, and I was like,
Sweating.
good. And my entire neighborhood is still out, and my neighborhood looks like if the power lines, if the trees were the fork and the power lines are the spaghetti, that's what it looks like. It got twirled up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The trees
I don't know
are
when
down
we're going to get
everywhere.
power. I think that we'd be the last ones on the list because there's so much damage you have to fix. The power lines went around the street lamps. Like, it's insane. There are so many trees that have wrapped into power lines and they're just to the side. At least they're out of the way now so the streets aren't blocked. But
Yeah.
and thank God we put in a generator last August, so we have that, and we have other families living with us, and every person in my neighborhood that has a generator, God bless them, has taken in people. But everybody else, I think, at this point, they better have ditched out because it is inhumane to be living in your house at this point with no power, and some people don't have water.
That's the best investment you ever made.
Oh my God!
That generator?
Yes, and my husband and I went back and forth over the expense of this generator, and I said, you know what? We've been married long enough to know that when there's a disaster in Houston, we are the beacon, like we are the safe haven. My mom will stay with me, my niece stays with me. We take in other families. I go, we're just going to suck it up and think of all the money you spend going to Target, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, the end caps at the grocery store, the impulse buys. We're just going to put all that into one big pile. And we're going to buy a generator.
No
So,
more Amazon for a week.
oh, yeah, for real. Like, stop buying on Amazon.
You know what?
For Tassos, that's a lot.
Yeah, my husband loves Amazon.
As of right now, a lot of people, there's still 240,000 people without power. This is of last night. And that's about 25% of those people who actually.
I'll say one time I
experienced-
had 1 million.
Yeah, it's gone
Oh my
down by
gosh,
like
yeah.
75%.
Still sucks though.
So CenterPoint restored power for 115,000 customers yesterday. They say if your power is out, the best way to track what's going on for up-to-date information, follow CenterPoint on X, formerly Twitter, and their handle is @CenterPoint. And then when you get there, you can enroll in their power alert service, and that's how they'll keep you up to date when they think that your power will come back on.
Now, Sam, you were saying, because you weren't home when the trees fell on your house.
Yeah, so you guys kept saying that there was like a crazy storm. Was Mark and I living under a rock? I feel like there was
No.
no preparing
Zero,
for this
zero.
storm,
No,
right?
there wasn't.
No, in the past,
There's
Sam,
no
on our
heads up.
show, we see that there's like, we've talked about just during the morning show.
Rain,
we would
we
tell
love rain.
people,
Yes.
hey, at
Full
3
heavy
o'clock there'll be
rain.
a storm or 4, right? But that was Bailey Day. That
Yeah.
was Bailey Day, and
And it
we
was,
never
like,
did really a real like
beautiful.
weather report on Bailey Day. We just did Bailey Day for Texas Children's. It was all about Bailey
That's about
and
wind.
raising money.
Right.
Nothing about
Okay,
wind or
okay.
rain.
I just needed to confirm that. So, like I said,
Oh
my
yeah, you
family
were not the
involved-
only
No,
one
everybody
that was
was
out of it.
caught
We
up.
were
You're on
all
your
out
way
of it.
home from
Yeah.
NASA, right?
Well, we went to NASA, and then we were like, oh,
Kemah?
okay, that was cool. So then we went to Kemah, and then the weather was still fine. So we went to this really pretty place called Pier 6. It's a restaurant, right? Like on the pier, obviously, like waterway.
yeah.
And so we're doing that. I mean, it's gray out, but it's still perfectly fine. There's no
been
crazy
gray
wind.
for like a
We were
week.
sitting outside, like it was totally fine. And then all of a sudden, you guys are texting. Kevin's husband's calling me, like, "Hey, where are you? Are you okay?" I was like, "What is going on?"
Because
he's like,
I
"You don't
think
understand what's going on in this storm."
I think you had posted a picture, maybe it was on your Instagram, of you guys just like in the car and like just in the car. It was sunny or something.
I sent that to you guys I sent that to you in our text. But even on
I
my
never saw
story, I'm like sitting there, like drinking like frosés, having a great time because the weather was totally fine in, like Kemah down south. And then, like I said, we started getting on the road, and all of a sudden, Kevin, husband's calling me. Jules is stranded in Walmart, and then you guys are all texting that everything's crazy, and I'm like, it is still sunshine. Like the sun was still out.
You're like,
where we were at.
What are we about to drive into?
So that's what we did. We started driving like up, and we're like, okay, once it starts like getting a little funky or anything, then we'll pull off, because people kept driving. It wasn't, you would have no idea that anything was happening.
Right.
And then
Wow.
we went,
dangerous.
yeah, and then we went
Nobody
under
knew.
the underpass because we were waiting, because you guys kept saying, hey, something's coming. And then we were listening to KRBE to get the weather update. And luckily, I think at that point, Kevin, Quinn, and Audrey were getting off, and it was going to Laura. So then they were giving us updates, but it was still fine. And then under the underpass, it didn't seem like anything. And Mari's like, we're just going to wait. You could kind of tell the wind was crazy, but nothing major. Like there was no red alarms in the sense of like, oh, there was tornadoes hitting down where we were at.
So then where were you when you actually got into it?
Yeah, when you noticed it when in the
Like, were y'all still in the car?
We were still in the car when the car was kind of shaking underneath the underpass, and there was still no cars. Like, people were just driving. Nobody was stopped like us.
Just going.
Which is just insane to me. And then we were getting maybe 5 minutes away from our house, and my neighbor, because we have a group chat, thankfully, once I moved into that neighborhood, they're like, hey, you need to be a part of this. And they're like, you have a tree on your house. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you have a tree on your house. It is everywhere. And so, of course, it's like trying to
Your heart sinks.
Yeah, like talking about it still. I've never experienced any house issues in the sense of
disaster,
seeing your house completely like, yeah,
smashed apart.
And thank God our vehicles were moved. We don't have any windows shattered, but it was like, it's terrifying because poor Misty was home by herself.
Oh, man.
So,
wow.
Yeah, because like I said, we didn't know that there was storm was going to happen.
Right.
So
Didn't know there was going to rain. I didn't even pay attention if there was raining that day.
When she saw you,
Yeah.
was Misty freaking out?
She was freaking out. Poor thing peed and pooped everywhere. Thank God the glass wasn't shattered like our windows, because there's trees all on both of our windows and it's all over our door. But she was freaking out. Like, we parked and Mark's like just like shocked. And I'm like, let me out of the car. Like, I need to go check on Misty, because I wanted to make sure that like nothing happened to her, because once if the glass shattered and she's like running around trying to get out, I don't know.
Paws, yeah,
so that's terrifying. But yeah, so we go, obviously we're just kind of like shocked. We don't know what to do. Santiago is, luckily very comfortable with my mother-in-law, so she's just trying to like comfort him and take care of him. And then we're looking at the damage. We're very blessed in the sense, when you go into my house, you can't see outside.
Okay.
But you can see all the water damage. So we still have the drywall, but the
thank
drywall
God.
is like coming.
Ceiling, yeah.
The drywall's coming down. You can tell that there's a lot of water damage. And then when you go outside, our fence is, hit over because of the tree, and then the tree
your
is up
new
on
backyard.
my house. So I know.
Because you got all
Oh
that.
yeah, didn't you just do turf and stuff? Was that
We just
okay?
did turf. We just did the stock tank pool and the deck. Luckily, we had them cut back one of the trees. They were actually supposed to cut that tree back, and just weren't able to at the time. So that tree, I think, that we cut back prevented more damage in the back of our house, because our back bedroom isn't back there. So like my bedroom is messed up, and then my son's nursery is messed up. So now we're all kind of living up in the front of the house, because obviously we don't want to deal with the water damage in our back of the house.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And you got power back Friday.
So we got
night.
power back Friday, which
Thank
is great.
goodness. So
That's
you only slept out of your house one time.
But you went to
Yes.
Austin
And then-
for a day, right? To get
And
away.
so, yeah, and that was the other thing too. It's kind of like, okay, we called our insurance. Our insurance was on it, because we were able to have somebody come and remove the tree. Because, you can't, how heavy is that tree? And it was
Oh,
terrifying because
you try and cut it, you get hurt too.
we
Some
were
people-
cutting
Sure.
it, and like we had neighbors come. I had neighbors coming over helping us that were wearing slippers. Like, they didn't even have any tools. They came out with like a machete, and we're like, "This
Oh
is
my God.
this is
See,
the
I
only
love
thing I have
that.
to help you."
You're like, please be careful.
I love that.
Yeah, I know,
that
right?
caring,
It's
that
insane,
sense of
yes.
community is so awesome.
It was incredible. So they were helping us, just try and cut the branches off, just so that we can kind of see like and assess the damage, because we obviously had lines completely taken down off of our house. And then we were able to get our insurance people, and thankfully we were able to get the tree off. I think it was Friday. And so they put a tarp up on our roof, and now it's kind of like it's just a waiting game to try and get inspections out and everything.
But
so that's why we went
awesome,
to Austin.
There should be no rain for a while, right?
I hope
It
not.
looks pretty good. By
I
the
hope
way, you
so
just
not.
mentioned it.
Yeah.
The Texas Department of Insurance, here's what they're saying,
Yeah,
that
let's get all
after a major storm like this, first thing you need to do is document the damage to your property. Take photos, videos, notes. If there's a down tree leaning on your roof or blocking your driveway, your homeowner's insurance may cover its removal. Texas Department of Insurance notes that your homeowner's policy likely includes some coverage for wind damage. Under state law, it's likely that you'll have to turn to your insurance, even if your house or car was damaged by a neighbor's tree. So if your neighbor's policy doesn't pay, you can still file a policy under your own insurance.
Somebody texted us at 37530. Her husband is a lineman. He worked 103 hours last week.
Gosh, I'm
Since
not.
the storm.
bless 'em.
And that's probably just
They are
Thursday to
getting there.
today.
Yeah.
He's a Thursday. Yeah, I think because it
Yeah.
started Thursday, so Friday it started. So from Friday until now, her text.
But they
He
go
worked
in like
103 hours.
they line them up. Thursday they're out there.
Yeah, I saw a bunch
Remember
of
that
linemen.
afterwards it got nice out. That's what was creepy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
someone said there's like God took a switch,
Yeah.
turned it off, dark,
Right.
and then turn it back on.
But
like
here's something that
So
happens,
wild.
though, because the ground was so saturated that some trees would fall after the fact.
yeah, that's what we were saying Friday. Remember?
So we got a call. Hey, there's a giant tree in front of, like landed on your porch.
Well,
And
your
that was
house
a day
in
later.
Jersey Village versus where your fiance lives in Jersey Village, they already got power back, right?
They got power back. Yeah.
When did they get theirs back?
I think it was Saturday night.
And the porch tree is on your house or your
No, my
fiance's
fiance's house. So
And
we
so she
went.
still
We
doesn't
went.
have power either.
This is
Did
so
they go
funny.
over the moat.
The moat. Wait, I mean, trust me, there's no moat. Maybe there's moat now because of all the weather. But
I talked to a couple of linemen yesterday. I pulled over and I saw a bunch of them lined up with their cones and stuff. And I said, I'm sure everyone's pulled over and asked you when do they get power. That's not my question. My question is, you guys are fixing the transformer, but does that even do anything if the nerve center towers are still bent in half like a bunch of bent spoons
There's
and
so many-
forks?
you see those drones? that
He's like,
show-
right. He goes, we have to fix these transformers so that when the nerve center gets the power and it transmits it here, this area can have power.
Well, the first
but
thing you got
the
to do,
transformers
Roula,
are blown up.
the center point is saying that the customer-owned equipment has to be fixed before they can get your power on. So if you see that point where the power enters your home through an electrical service drop, if that's damaged, then you've got to call. Actually,
Yeah, good luck calling.
you have to call a qualified electrician to
Good
get
luck
that
calling.
fixed before your power will come back
People
on.
saying give shout outs to the power company. They saw trucks from Alabama here, power
Yeah.
trucks all over.
Alabama.
I don't know where Bailey and Bailey is, but that was the truck I was talking to. And then I saw another one when I was in traffic, not traffic, but just driving around. It was from Michigan. That's the one good thing when there's a storm anywhere, everybody lines up. I remember when Lake Charles got hit twice. All those lineman trucks.
But a lot
from
of
all
those
the
hurricanes,
states
though, they
came.
know
Yeah, where
that they're lined up with, like, say, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So they
they're-
could drive in.
and then drive in after the damage. This came out of nowhere. I don't
It
think
did.
they were.
Assess the situation.
Yeah.
Man. Well, today on the Roula and Ryan show, we're going to try and do storm coverage and try and maybe because a lot of schools are out. A lot of schools are in.
Yeah.
A lot of people are wondering, can we graduate this week? What's happening with our AP
Or
exams?
finals
Where's
and stuff.
what's going on with our finals?
How kids supposed to do finals when they have no power?
Right.
house.
And you can't
You can't.
study
Like, my
because
kid goes
everything
to
is supposed to
school-
be on some kind of IXLs, whatever the heck they
Like,
call
we're
those.
fine, but there's like kids in the Heights that go to my kid's school and like they can't.
Right.
know?
You've got no power at home.
And how are you supposed to expect you to go to school?
Yeah. and-
Well, the buildings are damaged.
And if school has not had power, they can't reopen them because think of how the refrigeration, everything has to get dumped. Think of the cleanup after the power has
Yeah.
gone out. Anyway, here's
With
your
the 2
official
weeks
weather
left,
today.
or
It's
a week.
not going to rain, thank
like
God.
you mentioned, 54 HISD schools are closed. Spring Branch, Cypress, Fairbanks, Aldine, Channelview, Galena Park ISDs all closed today. Today is going to be hot, y'all. It's going to be sunshine. It's going to be scorching out there. Low to mid 90s. Right now, 73 degrees and 613 on the Roula and Ryan Show.
Radio right here
Time for your daily scoop. Roula and Ryan Celebrity Scoop.
on KRBE.
Okay, so for anybody who's ever gone down the wrong path in life, whether you stayed on the wrong path or maybe you found your way back to the right side, maybe you could trace it back to the bad influence that got you there. I have plenty of people in my life that went cattywampus, Special K likes to say, and I know exactly the moment it went cattywampus.
What was that trigger point?
Oh, my one friend from high school, the bad luck just walked into her house. She moved into a new neighborhood. This girl just showed up one day in her living room. Her mom thought that they knew each other because they were kids on the street, and so she let her go upstairs to like wherever she was watching movies, and this girl literally bad crap walked into her life. This girl was a nightmare. She had a terrible friend circle. She sent my friend down the worst path ever, and I don't think she ever recovered. I still don't even know what ever happened to her. It was just terrible. They like this group of people would steal from her family when they were at dinner. It was just terrible. Like bad news just walked into her house. And then I have other friends who like got into maybe some extracurricular activities that they should not have been getting into, and then they found their way back and whatever. But everybody can kind of trace the bad guy, or maybe the first time you did something illegal, the first time you did something, you drank alcohol underage. Who was it that provided it for you? Things like that.
I think what's so bad is a lot of these bad influences, they seek out vulnerable people.
No, they don't.
take
They're just your
advantage of them.
friends. And they're like, hey, let's do this. Hey, my mom and dad are out of town, or I swiped this bottle of vodka from my mom and dad's house. Let's drink this.
Yeah, but they know that person's not going to say anything. In other words, they see weakness. They spot weakness.
Well,
and
they're
then
friends.
I
never looked at my friends
take
as weak
advantage of
people.
it.
We were just teenagers.
Yeah, we're just
Right.
all trying to.
I'm like, oh, you're a weak girl. I'm going to give you this vodka. No, it's like, oh,
We're
hey.
gonna smoke cigarettes. We're badass.
Ooh,
We're cool.
cigarettes.
They'll go along with whatever I
So
say.
a very,
Look at us.
very innocent celebrity in our perception would be Sabrina the Teenage Witch from the 90s, Melissa Joan Hart. She was in a movie with the guy from Entourage and from Devil Wears Prada. What's his name? Adrian Grenier?
Yeah.
Called You Drive Me Crazy. And that song in the late 90s was a huge hit for Britney Spears. You Drive Me Crazy as a song. It was also a movie. And the video is about the movie. Melissa Joan Hart says that she now feels so guilty because she feels like she started the bad road for Britney Spears by taking her to her first club when she was 17. She said, Britney was only 17 at the time. She was underage and young, but I was like, come on, let's go out. We're just gonna go have some fun. What's the harm?
Yeah,
We're just gonna
it'll
have some fun. And she said, I feel really guilty about that to this day because I just should have known better, like being a bigger sister to her. And she feels like from there, Britney got a taste of the fun nightlife. And then she just never went back.
I
She's
wouldn't beat
always wanted
yourself
to
up
be-
too much. It's not like she wouldn't have done that. She's a pop star with unlimited funds back then.
Oh, no, kids
She's
don't
gonna
want to go to clubs. They're never going to find clubs.
No, they'll never go to a
Yeah.
club.
18, 19, 22.
When I was 17 years old, obviously you can't go to clubs here in Houston, but overseas there's not an age limit. And when I was 17, I went to go visit my grandmother and all my aunts and uncles alone because all of my immediate family lives in Greece. And my mom and dad were like, so you're going to go for how long? I go, just the whole summer. I'll just go for the whole summer. I mean, I just want to go spend with all our family. So I went by myself from July to September to Greece, and there's no age limit in clubs there or drinking. You could just sit in a cafe and order a Heineken if you want. The
Like a
alcohol
9-year-old?
was not what hooked me up. It was the dance club. Like, I thought it was so much fun to be in the clubs, and then my cousins were like, come on, we have to go. And I was like, no, you guys don't understand. When I go back to America, like all of this stops for me until I'm 21. I cannot. We're going to go out every night that you can make it. We are going out every night to the dance clubs. And they're like, think about them. Their regular life is this. And they're like, well, we can't be partying every night. But I'm like, I'm on
It's my
vacation.
vacation.
I want to party every night.
Don't you feel like if you're old enough to...
It's a long vacation.
If you're old enough to serve your
Summertime.
country and the armed forces, you should be old enough to have a drink.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they think you're old enough. They think you're old enough to go ahead and lay your life on the line for your country. They just don't think you're responsible.
That's how they
enough to
get
have a
young
drink.
people to vote. If you vote, then you're allowed to drink.
No, if you're old enough
Oh
to vote,
my
you're old enough to
gosh.
drink.
All those 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds don't care about voting.
You're going to make a giant
I care now.
decision for the
Yeah.
rest of the next 4 years of our country. But
And all these
can't buy beer.
events will be passing out beer.
Yeah, crazy. So that was kind of a funny story. Melissa Joan Hart. I wonder if Brittany would respond to that, but I'm not sure. Okay, so Taylor Swift affected the upcoming NFL season in what way? NFL and Taylor Swift were like hand in hand at the end of last season because of her relationship with Travis Kelce. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and here on we go from there. Well, the NFL also to take into consideration when they built the NFL schedule that she is still on the Eras Tour and she is using stadiums. And she is using stadiums in cities that have NFL teams in the fall when the NFL plays.
Yep, 3.
So the NFL stadiums for New Orleans, Miami, and Indianapolis had to make sure that it was road game weekends when Taylor's Eras Tour came to town because they did do like the shuffle game, which I'm sure they do this stuff with every venue, but it's just more interesting that, oh, here we go again because it's coming back.
It's going to be so hard to book all that stuff.
Yes, no kidding.
That's why I always noticed the Rockets would play the Bulls around my birthday every January. Because I remember
Really?
even when I was like 18, I remember going to like dinner with my family. I'd look up, I'd see Hakeem versus Jordan and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then even when I moved here, my wife bought me tickets to see the Bulls. against the Rockets.
Well, they
It was
did
on my
that.
birthday. I'm like,
They-
it's
they
weird.
did
They
that.
must.
Oh,
No, because-
And then now
That's
it's
cool.
changed a little bit. They moved it around, but it used to always be in January.
Yeah, somebody was looking at the calendar like, oh, it's little Eric Rowe's birthday. We got to play.
Yeah, well, let them see each other. Yeah, so they must have like certain blocks because, like in Chicago, the circus would come for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the Bulls would leave to the West Coast and they would play for 2 weeks. It was always in October. So maybe they know
There's
this
so
stuff.
many factors
So
that go
football-
into it.
Yeah, you don't think about even like for baseball. Look, Elton John was supposed to be at Minute Maid Park. Was that 2 years ago?
Playoff time.
And it was playoff time. So, okay, well, sorry, you're moving over because you don't know if they're going to make, like, from one sports team city to the next, you don't know if they're going to make it into the playoffs. And so all these concerts get booked based on, well, historically, this team doesn't go that far. So let's just go ahead and book, like, November 1st or
Yeah.
October
It's smart,
22nd.
though, yeah.
And then they're like, oh, this team made it to the playoffs in baseball.
Now what?
By the way,
Yeah.
as bad as the Astros started, they're only 4 games out, people.
Yeah, they're
That's
really
great.
turning it around.
I went to
Mariners,
the game
Rangers, you had your chance.
on
You had-
Saturday night, and
do
my
it.
friend had tickets, and that was the one of the 3 Brewers games they didn't win. I was
You saw the game we lost.
I was going to say, and really, you kept teasing about the tickets on Friday. Thank you so much because off air, you actually offered them to my family,
That's
and I am so grateful. Mark
Did
was
you go?
able. No, so we were giving them to my uncle and my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law's like, I don't want to sit there for 4 hours. Like,
What?
no. And so, which is fine.
If you're not a
So-
baseball fan, it feels like a long
Yes,
time.
if you don't like it.
Fireworks.
And so my uncle went with
went.
Mark, and Mark and him went, and they never, I don't think they've ever done anything together.
Or spent time alone.
Oh, that's
Spent
cool.
time alone
Oh, that's
ever.
nice.
That's
so
a good memory.
he had such an amazing time. Like when I dropped them off and then picked them up, and my uncle was just like smiling. He was like, "That was so cool! Like the seats were amazing." So thank you so much.
I'm just glad
Thank
that
you.
you did that and you guys did
Thank
go to
you.
that Jeep weekend.
Oh,
Somebody
no.
got killed this weekend.
Yeah.
There's shootings.
No.
There's always
I know.
violence at this
Shocker.
thing.
What?
Yeah.
Why do they allow this?
I don't know.
Why do they keep
That's
this
like
thing
a-
going?
I don't know
Crystal
how
Bridge
you
thing.
can.
Yeah, it was called
Hi-
America.
Yeah, how can you not have that?
240 arrests, more than 800
Well,
calls
if
to the
repeatedly the
police.
same event has a lot of problems.
At a
you
certain
would think,
point,
But
like,
is
I
it?
say,
But is it
let's
technically
not
an
do
event
this.
in a sense that it's like?
Oh, the
you know what I
city
mean? Like the
puts it
city
on?
doesn't
Yeah, I
put
don't
it
think they
on.
actually
It's
put it
just
on.
like
They just collect.
Yeah,
it's
they just
Now you just tell
exactly.
people to
You can't
profile
collect.
Jeeps. And
Yeah,
then start pulling people over.
We're not
and
all
stuff. It's like-
bad. It's just
Well, getting back to the Stros, let me tell you
Sorry.
about that Friday game. I'm so glad that was a high and a low of like
Yes,
a
they had
3-run
such a
homer,
great time with that
3-run
too,
homer,
yeah.
and then we end up winning in the end. So what a game for Mark to go to.
yes, thank you. They had
And Saturday,
so
I
much
thought
fun.
we had it, and we didn't have it. I thought we didn't have it. And then yesterday,
Close.
how much they win by?
5. It was 9-4
Awesome.
or whatever.
Oh, did they? Good.
No,
I didn't even watch.
Yeah, because we were up like 6-1. I'm like, oh, this is easy. And all of a sudden, they got 3 runs, 4
Scary.
runs. Oh no, it's 6-4. And then Kyle Tucker, second home run. He changed his shoes and got hit 2
Is that
home
what it
runs.
was?
Yeah, he put on his Orbit shoes. They were orange.
The
He
Orpheus.
struck out 3 times, put on the shoes, and hit 2 home runs in a row.
Sweet.
That's
I,
weird.
I
That's
really
funny.
enjoyed myself because you know what's funny, Sam?
It's
Because when we
always
were
fun.
talking about the Astros
Yeah.
tickets, and I said, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to go to this game, and what do I do with these tickets?" and blah blah blah. And my friend that's staying with us because we have power and we have a generator power, and they're still out. They have tickets too, and they're like, "Oh my God, we have Astros tickets." And I said, "Oh, that's okay. I'll just stay here, and you and your husband go to your tickets." Her husband didn't feel like going, and she goes, "Mom's night out, high five." She goes, "How many beers do you want to drink?" And because she's not a big drinker, so she drove, and I got to have.
How's the heat in there? Was it cool in there?
Oh, it was fine where we were sitting. And the seats where Mark was sitting, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, they didn't complain
That's
at all.
good.
They
Yeah.
had such a great
Sometimes
time. So
it's
thank you so
humid in there.
much. It was
Yeah,
nice to
that
kind
was
of get
good.
them out and about. And then I went over to Jules with my mother-in-law, and so we were just hanging out, having girls' time with Santiago.
Girl time, girl dinner.
Girl
Cool, 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 cool.
time. Girl
So thank you.
time.
We've got
All right.
some cool listener lines that came in over the weekend.
Yes, I want to recap our Monday audience on things that have happened since Thursday. Because if you weren't in
A lot
your
of
car
people.
on Friday, we want to talk about meeting Nellie. We want to talk Bailey from Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot we want to recap you based on some of the listener line calls that came in. So we'll go over that next on the Roula and Ryan Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to check in with Roula and Ryan's listener line.
You have 912 messages.
Ew. Screw you, clown.
You are a know-it-all, know-nothing.
Really?
4.1.
Yeah.
Eric the truck driver.
That number is 713.
713-278-VENT. That is the phone number. 713-278-VENT. And listen, the listener line, Gets a lot of calls at all times of the day because people listen to us live, like right now, and then people listen to us on podcast later and they want to comment, which that line is open all the time. And a couple of things you need to know before you hear the calls about what we did is people will hear something and then be moved to call us.
Well, a lot of people weren't able to listen on Friday, and we understand that. They were, still trying to put their homes back together.
Or people live in other cities and they listen to us.
Right.
And they want to hear what they used to live here, and they want to hear us talk about what
and
happened.
we'll get to that.
We're a little piece of home.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, just a little program note to remind you, Thursday, we did a regular show. We had Roula and Ryan's Roses and things like that, but we really focused heavily on Texas Children's Hospital and the Positive Play program with Bailey, the Golden Retriever, who was retiring. And Adair came in here, Bailey's mom, and, she's a child life specialist at Texas Children's and just really, really sweet. And Bailey has done her time, and it's time for her to retire out. And Adair is meeting her new dog today that she's going to take over to meet for the next, however many years at Texas Children's. And so you're going to hear a reference to Bailey Day because that was a big day for us on Thursday. And then on Friday, in the aftermath of the storm, we just basically did open phone Friday all morning, asking people, where were you during the storm? How did you handle the storm? Where'd you get stuck? Just give us your experience because we all had a different one. And a woman named Nellie called in and said that she was down to her last 2 gallons of gas. She got evicted from her apartment. She takes care of her mom who has dementia. She is a driver for Favor and for Rhodey, and that is how she makes her primary income because then she can have her mom and her dog with her in the car.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about maybe if you can make your way here.
Well, we asked her, said, hey, where exactly are you? And she was only 15 minutes away. So she actually came up to the studio.
Over here,
I
and
just
then
come here. And then Ryan thankfully had a lot of money in his wallet.
Because we don't carry cash.
I had $20.
I normally don't.
$20
That's
too.
see, I think sometimes
it works in mysterious
everything
ways.
is, maybe it's God's plan. We're just meant to be at a certain point in a certain place.
Yeah, 2 gallons. Hopefully you can make it here.
And she did
got
make it here.
We pulled all our money together, got her a couple $100,
and then took her down.
Even our boss came in, Sam. Even our boss came in to meet Nellie and gave her some cash out of her purse.
So then
we got her a gift card next door to buy, she said there's a Target near her place. So we got her a gift card to buy things at Target, filled up her tank, gave her a lot of things.
I went next door with her. And, before we play this call, I want to tell you that, we do this we've done this a long time. And you can tell sometimes when you're being scammed. This woman was real. She was legit.
She brought her mom up here.
A good person. After I came out.
It was just on hard times.
I took her over and gassed up her car. And then I said, can you wait a second? I went into the ATM and I also pulled out the max they would allow me to pull out in cash and threw that on top of it. And when I came out and gave her the cash, she just broke down.
I'm sure.
She broke down. She's I'm trying so hard because I don't think she's getting enough sleep. And
she even told us she has not slept in days. So you could tell she was in that spacey mode of sleep deprivation. I said, hopefully your mind can rest because her mind does not rest.
Recharge.
Because of the stress she's got about taking care of her mom, trying to make money. And I said, hopefully the money that you've collected today, and we gave it her Venmo, and so many Houston listeners were so open, giant hearted.
She handed me
your
phone.
And they gave her money.
Roula, at 10:30 in the morning, that's where we parted company. So we parted company about 10:30, and she goes, here, and she handed me her phone. Her Venmo had she gotten $2,500.
Amazing, life-changing for her. And I said, hopefully that can at least rest your brain for a couple of hours to get some real solid
get out of that
sleep.
hotel with all the roaches and...
Oh, gosh. So this listener line call came in from a very emotional listener who doesn't live here anymore regarding Bailey Day and Nellie and all the things that she hears on our show.
Hi, Roula and Ryan. I'm calling because I did not realize how bad things got over there in Houston. I used to live there, and I don't anymore, but I've been listening to the station ever since I left, and I got finished listening to the podcast, and the things that you guys are doing for Nellie and the way that you guys love Bailey and just the things that you do for the city is the reason why I want to move back. And Ryan, about 99% of the time, I'm always talking so much crap about you via text, and you get on my nerves. But the way that you are when people are in need and the way you step up is amazing. And I wish I could offer money to Nellie. I can't because I'm trying to get my own money together to move back. But I want to at least recognize the things that you guys are doing. And it makes me so proud to want to be back in Houston again because of the way that the community gathers or comes together. And I can't wait to get back to that feeling of community. I just want to say I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Oh, we'd love to
that's
have
so
you back.
sweet.
And, don't feel guilty about something like that. You've got to take care of you first, and we've all been blessed in the sense that, we're able to do things that we weren't able to do when we started this show. Eric was sleeping on a futon in a one-bedroom place.
Part of a sectional.
Part of a sectional.
sectional.
Not even a
The
whole
sectional
sectional.
wouldn't fit in my place, so yeah.
And
Got to help others.
you got to help yourself
'Cause we're-
first before you can
everybody's-
help others.
Everybody's just a few paychecks from
Disaster.
being in
yeah.
that situation.
Maybe one.
I'm
Another
hoping
woman,
somebody would help me out if I needed it, and people
Right.
have. You guys helped me out back then. So.
but I think a lot of Houstonians have got that good heart and they step up. And then even people that don't live in Houston, this woman was listening from California.
Hi, my name's Tina. Tell Nellie to get on Curry, CURRI, and dispatch it, DISPATCHI. They pay better than roadies, and they're just like roadies, so that may help her as well. And God bless you guys for helping her. Hi from California.
Aw.
That's really nice. Yeah, some people were texting us different services she could also work for that give her a percentage more back as a driver. She had mentioned, I do a job that people don't like. And we made a point to say, when you see delivery fee, that does not mean that's going to the driver. That's
Right.
like a fee that goes to the
Yeah.
service. So you tip on top of that. And if you don't tip,
Well, people were
then-
telling her, too, do you need to get like Medicaid for your mom and all this stuff? And
Yeah, and how to get
she's
it.
doing an application. She needed $70. She couldn't even do the application for her mom. That's the key. If she can get her help for her mom,
Yeah, she
then
needs
she
help.
can get a job where you can
Can make more than
maybe
just
make
driving
more money than
around.
just driving around and spending money on because she had 2 cars repossessed. She had to use this, put this car in her mom's name.
Yeah.
So
So we're so happy that you guys opened your wallets and helped out Nellie.
Time
and-
for one more here real quick.
Yeah, let's go.
Because I think a lot of people are feeling down right now because of the storm.
Hi, Roula and Ryan. I am one of those affected Houstonians that still doesn't have power. It is Sunday at noon. It just feels like the city's abandoned us because everything around me has power except my condo. It's just so upsetting when the First Baptist Church has power to their waterfall, yet I can't even take a shower. It's just the lack of communication and just everything is just overwhelming, and it feels like once the people who are important got their power, the rest of us are forgotten. And I'm just so upset, overwhelmed, and tired of this. That's all. Just wanted to vent about how overwhelming and upsetting this is. I don't even know when I'm going to get power, but I doubt it will be soon. Just in the dark, figuratively and literally.
Okay. And
that's the worst.
Your feelings are very real, and I can see how you can feel that way. But one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Houston right now is probably not going to have power for weeks. I mean, this is an act of God. I mean,
It's taking everybody out. It doesn't
And-
matter what.
it doesn't
And
matter.
I know it doesn't help
where
when
you
you're in the
live.
dark and
But
it's
they
hot
have
and
more
sweaty.
resources. They can afford a hotel.
Right, to
That's
leave
true.
their houses.
That's true.
We talked about this earlier today, how they're working so tirelessly to get this thing back together. But to Eric's point, when a hurricane is coming, all those linemen are lined up and waiting in a safe distance from the hurricane epicenter to come in and start immediately working on power. This was such a surprise storm.
Such a surprise.
That all those linemen got here on Friday and they worked tirelessly. Like one of our texters, her husband worked 103 hours.
He was in Lake Charles working the storm, came back, and then had to deal with our storm. So it was 103 hours he was working.
God
Yeah, and he
bless
starts
him.
again.
And you
So-
don't be tired doing that job, working with wires and stuff.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. So we're going to open up the phone lines coming up next at 713-390-KRBE. Just how are you feeling? Are you feeling like that caller where you're just in despair? Because at this point, yes, you do feel like you're forgotten, but we have to remember that you're not the only one. And we just have to wait for it, which stinks. I don't know if you can find somebody else to go to, because at this point, it's just really dangerous to be in your very hot place. So we'll be doing that here in a couple minutes.
Hey, yo. Time for KRBE's Roula and Ryan show to tell you what's going down in H-Town.
Okay, so HISD has released its final list of schools that'll be closed today. 54 schools will be closed due to lack of power, air conditioning, and food service. Also, Spring Branch, Cypress, Fairbanks, Aldine, Channelview, and Galena Park ISDs have all canceled school today. Channelview ISD Nutrition Services will be providing meals for anyone under 18 at the Barrett Lee Early Childhood Center from 11 this morning till 12:30 in the afternoon. So that's a great thing that's happening there. About 240,000 customers still without power as of late last night.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about
Still one of
25% of those who experienced outages after Thursday's storm. So here's what you can do if you're wondering when your power is going to come back on. CenterPoint restored power for about 115,000 customers just yesterday. If your power is out, for up-to-date information, follow CenterPoint on X. That's formerly Twitter. And their handle is @CenterPoint. When you follow them, you can enroll in their Power Alert service. And that's going to alert you as to when it will possibly be coming back on. CenterPoint has said severe weather may have caused damage to customer-owned equipment. If your home is served by overhead power lines, please check your weatherhead. That's the point where the power enters your home through an electrical service drop, which is often a pipe located on the side of the building. So if the equipment is damaged, you need to contact a qualified electrician to make repairs before they can restore your service.
Okay, by the way, can I also mention this? There's this map that they released over the weekend, and everyone is so mad about this map because it doesn't help you at all.
No, it doesn't.
If you are out of power. It does not help you at all because you can't even zoom into it to see, like, where's your street, what's the zip code, what's the area. Like, oh, if you're this color, you're probably going to get your power here, there, and everywhere. You cannot even zoom in on this map to see where your neighborhood is.
That's what
and
I
it
was
just
saying.
irritated people even more when the map came out. Everyone's like, really?
Yeah,
I
the
don't know
map
where I am
did
on this
nothing.
map.
Not helping.
I'm sweating my ass off.
That's why you're
Where's
better
my
off
map?
Yeah.
going
So-
to Twitter X and follow CenterPoint. And that's
Well, you
your
follow
best way.
CenterPoint, you get the map, Brian. So if you don't have power right now, I'm going to vent for you because I know a lot of people are so ticked off that they're like, this map doesn't help me. You can
Right.
just wait and just wait for that AC to come back on. We're going to take your calls if you feel like you got to get it out, rage it out, vent it out. 713-390-KRBE, whether somebody surprised you with some good behavior and neighborly
Sam had some good neighbors. We can hear talk about that too.
I would
'cause
love to talk about that again. Miss Judy. That's my neighbor.
See, you learn your neighbors in disasters.
You do.
They're all really
I got
get
like
tight during
four
a
or
disaster.
five different numbers.
And then you go back to normal about 2 weeks from
That's
now.
okay. At least you have each other.
I told him I'll have a barbecue in my little stock tank pool.
You put them all in your stock tank? Oh,
They didn't know what it was. I'll have to explain.
They're like, well,
y'all.
3 of us can stand
They
in
didn't
here.
understand. They're like, what is that, ma'am? Did that fly in your house? No,
Do you have
that
a horse
was
back there with
That
us
was-
to
that-
drink water?
I actually
Nope.
paid for that to get there.
Yeah, it's a water trough, actually. We call it stock tank is the cool name for water trough, for a horse trough. 713-390-KRVE. We want to know how you're feeling right now, post-storm. If you're still out of power, maybe you got your power, or like you
Give someone
met
a
some
shout out that helped
really
you out.
nice neighbors or somebody who helped you didn't expect. Next on the Roula and Ryan Show.